Jonathan Edwards was born on October 5th, 1703 in East Windsor, Connecticut, into a Puritan family. His father, Thomas Edwards, was a minister, and his mother, Esther Stoddard, was the daughter of a prominent pastor. From an early age, Jonathan showed signs of unusual intelligence and deep spiritual sensitivity. By the age of 12, he entered Yale College. While other boys his age read adventure stories, Jonathan was absorbed in works of philosophy, like John Locke's Essays on Human Understanding. He graduated before he turned 17, and by the age of 21 he was serving as a tutor at Yale. His sharp intellect and discipline shaped him into one of the most profound thinkers of his age. Edwards became pastor of a church in Northampton, Massachusetts, where he rose to prominence during the period that we know today as the Great Awakening, a widespread religious revival of the 1730s and 40s. Though his voice was not strong and his delivery was plain, his preaching carried enormous power. He rarely gestured, and he often read directly from his manuscripts, but his words pierced the hearts of believers. His most famous sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, delivered in 1741 at Enfield, Connecticut, left the audience crying out in anguish, asking, "What must we do to be saved?" What gave Edward such influence was not polished oratory, but his deep conviction, logical reasoning, and vivid descriptions of God's majesty and man's sinfulness. He spoke of God's sovereignty, holiness, and justice with a weight and clarity that made eternal realities seem immediate. His writings, including Freedom of the Will and Religious Affections, remain some of the most significant works in American theology and philosophy. Edwards also lived through the challenges of revival. While he embraced the work of God's Spirit, he was careful to warn against fanaticism and false religious emotion. His book Religious Affections sought to distinguish true spiritual experience from mere excitement. Later in his life, Edwards accepted the presidency of the College of New Jersey, which would later become Princeton University. Sadly, though, only weeks after beginning his post, he died on March 22, 1758, at the age of 54, from complications after a smallpox inoculation. Though his life was relatively short, Jonathan Edwards left a lasting legacy as both a preacher and a philosopher. He combined intellectual depth with spiritual passion, shaping not only the Great Awakening of his own century, but also the course of American religious thought for generations to come.